welcome back to my channel, So Little Time, and my name is Karen. First of all, just want to say Happy New Year, and I hope you had a really nice Christmas and New Year, however you spent it. So today's vlog is to go through all my 2019 sort of plans. So I've got 4 subjects that I want to talk to you about today. First one being what I'm going to obviously be making for January. Second one being my resolutions for 2019. And the third one being my Make 9 for 2019, and lastly the fourth one to talk to you about the Dressmakers Ball, which is being held in March this year. So I'll crack on with my sewing mates that I've got planned for January. And if you watch my previous vlog, you will know that I failed to make a few items during December, just because I was just way behind on everything. So I'm actually going to be having a selfless sewing month, so I'm not going to be sewing anything for myself, and that is purely because I'm behind on making the items that I needed to for other people. So to refresh your memory, the first thing that I'm going to be making is the toaster sweater by Sew House 7 for my friend Anna, who lives a few doors down from me, and I've been sort of planning to get this done for her. I'm sure it was since the end of September, I think it was. Yeah, so I'm really behind on that, so I think she's probably waiting, thinking, you know, what's happened to my sweater? And I'll show you the fabric that I've got. I've showed you this before, but just so you can see it again, and if you're new and haven't watched any previous vlogs, then it's this quilted kind of jersey. As you can see, it's quite fluffy because it is like a double layer. So it should be toasty warm for the toaster sweater, and I'm going to make it in a size medium as per the one I made for myself, and she's 5'7", I think, or maybe even taller, so I'm actually going to add, I think, 4 inches onto the sweater length before I add the hemband on. For mine I added 2.5 inches, and I'm 5'5", so I just thought if I just add that extra sort of 1.5 inches to hers, that should be fine. So that's that first thing I need to make. Secondly, I need to do the bean bag for one of my twins. Obviously I got one done and I just need to get the second one done. I'm going to do that for their birthday at the end of February, so I want to get it done this month, just so I'm not rushing it next month. And then for my mum, she wanted a cocoa top by Tilly and the Buttons for her birthday. Now her birthday was back in August last year, but we just hadn't had the time to go into town together to choose some fabric, so we ended up going, I'm sure it was like November time last year. We went to Crafty So and So in the St Martin's Square in Leicester, and she chose some Ponte Roma fabric, and it's this navy blue background with ditzy sort of white flowers and spots on. And so I'm going to be making that into a cocoa for her, so I just need to measure her to see what size she is. So I want to get that done this month for her. And then the next thing I need to do, or finish rather, is the Oliver & S Raglan t-shirt. It's the field trip Raglan t-shirt pattern. I'll quickly show you this again. It's inside out because I've got it pinned to sew, but it's the racing car fabric for the body, and then grey sleeves I'm doing for that, and then I'm going to put the cuffs and the neckband on in grey as well, and that's just the inside, the reverse fabric. And these fabrics are from Guthrie & Garney in Moseley, Birmingham, and they're really good quality fabrics, because the ones I've made for my twins, they've washed really well, so definitely recommend those. And then also for my mum, she's asked me to make her a peg bag. I actually made one for myself, I think it was last year now, and hers broke, so she wanted me to make one for her. So I'm using a pattern out of a book that I've got, so it's essentially the same as the one I've made for myself. And I'll just get this book. It's called So Fabulous Fabric, okay, and it's by Alice Butcher and Ginny Farquhar. I hope I pronounced that right. And the pattern is like this, and the patterns are in the back of this book. I think you do have to enlarge them though on a photocopier. It's not like your dressmaking books where you can just pull the things out the back. I'll show you what I mean. I actually had to, I think this is when I was at work, I used the photocopier at work and had to enlarge this pattern by 400%. yeah, so that's the peg bag sort of template. And so I'm going to make that for her. So I think that is the only things that I've got to make. Yeah, so 2 of the sweaters, the toaster sweater, the cocoa for my mum, and then that peg bag. So I'm not planning on making anything else. I think that's enough because we're already, what is today's date? I've lost track of time at the minute. So my little boy goes back to school on Tuesday next week. It's Friday today, so I think it's the 4th today. Yeah, it's the 4th today. 4th of January, so already near enough a week in and I haven't even started, so I need to crack on. Otherwise it'll be the same as last month. Okay, so my make 9 then for 2019, in no particular order at all, I had for Christmas the South Bank sweater dress and sweater pattern by Nina Lee. So I really would like to make the sweater dress for myself. Yeah, and I've seen loads of these on Instagram. They're really popular, so I want to get that done this end of the year so I can wear it whilst we still have the cooler weather, because otherwise we're going to be getting into spring and summer really before I know it. Then number 2 is the Molly top by Sew Over It. This is just the print out I've got because it's a PDF version. I don't know if you can see the line drawings very well, but it's just the top that I want to make. I haven't got any fabric for that yet, so I'm going to have to source some, but it'd definitely be, I think, probably a spot or a plain that I'm planning on doing for that. And then number 3 is the toaster sweater again by Sew House 7, but I'm going to do version 2 this time. So it's a bit baggier than the other version. It's got side vents and a high-low hem. And again, I'm going to have to source fabric for that one. And again, for the South Bank sweater as well. And then the 4th one is the Tilly and the Buttons Bettine. And I've had this pattern for ages, so it's about time I cracked on with it. Obviously I didn't make my Make 9 2018, I only made 3 off the list, so this time I've made sure I've put patterns on that I know I definitely want to make. Yeah, so fingers crossed. And then number 5 is the Ultimate Shift Dress by Sew Over It. And I think I'd like to do the one with the fluted sort of frilly sleeve at the top, or maybe the long sleeve version. I'm not sure yet. I do have fabric lined up for that, but I'm going to make a toile first, because I've heard that the underneath the arms comes up quite tight, so I'm definitely not cutting into my gorgeous fabric that I've got lined up for it. Okay, number 6 I think we're on, is the New Look 6446 jumpsuit pattern, and this is the version that I'm going to make here. I might lengthen the culotte trouser section slightly. I'll see how I like it when I make it up. Yeah, and I've got fabric lined up for that, which I think I got from Sew Me Sunshine. Number 7 is the Colette Laurel, and again I've had this pattern for absolutely ages, so I do really need to get on with making that. And I have fabric lined up for this. It's just a cotton fabric that I got from Dunham years ago, so I need to use that, and I don't mind that being like a wearable toile. Oh sorry, and the version I'm going to make is the one with the frilly sleeves, fluted sleeves at the bottom there, and it's just a cotton dress. I'm not going to line it. I think one of the versions you can line, but I'm not going to do that. And the other patterns that I'm doing, I've not got paper patterns to show you, so I will try and insert a picture in. I mean, you'll probably know what these look like anyway, but I will try. I'm going to do the Mila dungarees by Tilly and the Buttons. Now I've got this as a PDF pattern which I won off the spot prize from the 1 week 1 pattern. So I'm going to try those, and that's going to be something new for me because it's a trouser, so it certainly tests my practices. And then the next one is the Chloe coat by Sew Over It. Now I bought this, it's an online class that they do. You can't buy it just as a pattern, you have to actually buy the online class and then the pattern is included. And I bought it when they had a 50% off of that, so it was a real bargain. And I've never made a coat before, so again this is going to be something to test my skills and expand, you know, my practices and things. So I'm looking forward to making that, and I think you can do it in like a boiled wool, Melton wool, or upholstery fabric. Which I think will be good for the sort of springtime. So I'm looking forward to making that. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it, but these 9 are definitely getting done this year. Okay, so that's subject number 2 then. Subject number 3, my resolutions for this year. I haven't got loads, but there's just a few things that I really want to make sure that I do. So the first thing being is that I want to sew garments for myself and other people using patterns and fabric that I already have in my stash, because I don't want to keep buying on top of what I've already got and then never use what I've already got in my cupboard. And the same goes for fabric. I mean, my fabric stash isn't as big as my pattern stash, so for that I will have to buy fabric for certain patterns that I have, which is fine, but I just want to pair up the patterns that I've got with this fabric that I've got. So I'm going to do a separate vlog on that, so you can see what patterns I'm going to pair up with what fabrics. Yeah, so that's one thing that I definitely want to do, because I've had patterns that have been sat there for way too long without being touched, and I don't want to keep buying, like I say, on top of those. The second thing I'd like to do this year is to do a craft fair. Now, I've never done one before, and my sister-in-law's done a few, and also I've had a few friends do some. And I'm not looking to make stacks of money. I just want to have a go at doing one and seeing what they're like. So I want to make just a few like little bits to sell, because I know when people go to craft fairs, they obviously don't want to spend a lot of money. So it's like £5 here, £5 there. And I had sort of wanted to do one in the past. So I did start sort of doing a few little crafty bits, but I never actually then ended up doing one. So I'll show you the sort of things that I mean. I made this needle case out of felt, and it's just got a couple of sort of felt pages in it where you can just insert your needles, hand needles or machine needles I suppose you could put in there, and then I've just appliqued on the front this little bird, and I've got about 10 or 15 of these made up already with different designs on the front, and obviously that hasn't cost me very much to make, so I probably sell that at a maximum of £5, maybe less. Yeah, I'll have to see how, you know, what people would probably want to pay for those. And then there's a few other little things that I'd probably do as well. I'm not 100% sure sort of what kind of things, but I'll make a list before I actually go ahead and make things. Yes, that's one idea. And I also spent for Christmas, with some of my Christmas money, I bought some of these craft punches, and this is from Hobbycraft. This one's a circle one, which is a 2-inch circle, and these come at £8 for this size from Hobbycraft, and I just ordered them online. It's free delivery if you spend over £20. So I bought 3 craft punches. So I've got the circle and the butterfly and this scalloped edge heart. And for those, I was thinking of making some like paper garlands or card garlands. So I'll show you an example. In this Molly Makes Christmas book that I've had a while, there is a section on how to make a string of stars. So obviously mine aren't stars, but you basically cut out in some really nice sort of card or paper, which obviously you can get from any craft shops and things, punch out the shapes, and then you stitch them on the sewing machine together, kind of like you stitch one star and then you keep the sewing machine going, so it kind of threads, makes loops I suppose, and then you thread on, sew onto another star, and then it creates this string of star effect. Now they have used quite a few layers of paper on there, but you could just use one if you use card. And I have seen these hung up in shop windows of haberdashery shops and stuff, so you know, and I could sell those. I think you could make that, you know, it's quite a nice decoration. You could do Christmassy one, that kind of thing. So I'm not sure when I'm going to do the craft fair, whether it would be sort of this side of the summer, or maybe I might do one for Christmas. I'm not really sure. Yeah, so just little things like that. So, you know, just little ditzy things that people won't mind spending money on, and it might just add to their, I don't know, gifts for people or things, decorations and that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's one of my resolutions. And then also for myself, I wanted to do a few sort of Easter and Christmas decorations, just that I find when I come to those sort of times of year, I haven't really got anything handmade to put around the house to make it look, you know, really nice. And especially this Christmas, I had my mum and dad come over to us for Christmas Day, and then I had my husband's family and his sister, so there was quite a big crowd of us on Boxing Day. And when I was laying out the table, I didn't have anything nice like placemats or a table runner to put down, so I just had this boring tablecloth. And I did kind of try to jazz the table up with crackers and put in some festive napkins into wine glasses and things, but I thought it would have been nice if I'd have had like a Christmas table runner along the centre where I could have laid out the food, and then just nice table mats. Yeah, so I'm going to sew some of those, as I think they'll be really, really easy to do, and just applique some pictures on there. And then also for the house, I want to do a few homeware bits, just some pillows to scatter about the place really, because we moved into our house 2 years ago this April. It's a 1930s house, and the people that lived here before were here for 40 years, and to say the decor has gone downhill is an understatement, and there's massive changes that need to be made to this house. And yeah, it's just a bit dated, and when we moved in, some bits were quite grotty, so we actually ended up having to rip up a lot of carpets and things, and we haven't replaced those because it's got the original wiring from 1930s, so we need to have the house rewired. Anyway, that's a completely different story, but I basically want to make it a bit prettier, so I'm thinking of doing some scattered cushions around, and I've got some pillow inserts already, so it's just the cases that I need to make, and I was thinking of doing like freehand machine embroidery type applique on it. And if you've heard of Poppy Treffry before, she's based in Cornwall, and she does some beautiful freehand machine embroidery using the old Singer machines. Now I do have an old Singer machine, and I have had a go on it, and it has been serviced, but I'm not going to be using that for doing this. I'll use my trusty machine here in the background. Yeah, but I'm hoping to do sort of that kind of style that she does. If you've not heard of her, then I will link details in the description box below, just so you can check out her website. But she's based in Cornwall, and she sells all over the place at different little shops and things. But I think because she's got a shop in St Ives, not sure if she's opened one recently in Padstow. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know she has opened another shop. Yeah, so they're my rest solutions for this year. So hopefully I can sort of get those things crossed off the list. And then lastly, what I want to talk to you about is the Dressmakers Ball, which Crafty So and So in Leicester are hosting, and it's taking place at the City Rooms in Leicester on the 23rd of March. And basically you make your own dress to attend in, and there's loads of other sewers that will be there, so I'm going alone, as a lot of people I think are, and then you just sort of get to know the other people that are there. I have met a few already who I know are in attendance. I've met them at the Sew Brum or Sew Leicester meetups, and I'm sort of in conversation with a lot of them on Instagram as well. So I hope that, not everybody's going to be strangers. And there's a sit-down meal, and I think there's a band, and there's a catwalk where you can sort of strut your stuff with your, your dress that you've made. And I think it is a competition. So I've actually chosen the pattern that I want to make, and it is McCall's M6953, and I want to make this version here. So it's like a high-low hem with a fitted bodice which has got princess seams, and it's a pleated skirt, but I think there is a few panels. So I'm going to use just a plain fabric because I don't want to break the pattern up if there are panels. But I'm not going to do that contrast band at the bottom. I'm just going to have it as one, use it all in one, and I think I might just shorten the hem at the front slightly, but keep the length at the bottom at the back. And I don't think this skirt is lined either, so what I'm planning to do is to put a lining in, but have it so it's the right side facing out, so when I'm stood with my legs down here you can see some nice lining at the bottom there. And I found a girl on Instagram called That's So Nadia, and I'll link her details below. Now she's made this dress, she's got an amazing figure, and the legs certainly are perfect for that dress that she's got, but she's made the hem really quite short at the front, and I certainly won't be going that short because any billow of wind, I'll be flashing everything, yeah, so that wouldn't be attractive. But yes, she's done that, and I've got the idea of the dress from her Instagram account. So I did order some swatches of fabric, and I was just like googling online trying to find something, and I found this company called Midland Textiles, and they're actually based in Birmingham. So I could have actually gone there whilst I was at my mother-in-law's, but I didn't realise until I'd ordered that they were based in Birmingham. And I ordered 3 swatches of raw Folks silk dupion. I think that's how you say it. So silk dupion, raw, and it's got a shimmer to it. And I've ordered, black, navy blue and antique gold. Now the navy blue is quite royal to me, and you can see that sheen kind of on it, but it is really nice fabric, and I think that would be really easy to work with. This is the antique gold, but I'm not keen on that. Now that's coming up lighter on the screen, but it's quite brown, so that's not sort of the colour that I was going for. And then I ordered a black one as well, and again that comes up really nice. You can see it's quite see-throughy there, but I think, you know, obviously once I've got that lining in, it would be fine. So I thought I could go with a classic black, but then I might try a darker sort of blue than that, you know, really. I think there is one that's sort of a midnight blue that might be quite suitable. And then for the lining, I have ordered another swatch of fabric, but I'm still waiting for it to come, and that was just off eBay, and that was black with some gold kind of stars and bits and bobs on it. So I thought that might go with the black, or maybe the midnight blue. But next time I'm in Birmingham, I'll actually visit the shop, because it's not far down the road from my mother-in-law's. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making that, but I'm going to definitely make a toile. The bodice I think is going to be very similar to the My Handmade Wardrobes patterns party dress that I did for Crafty So and So, that pattern test. I think it's going to be sort of similar to that with the princess seams, and I found them that really easy to make up. But I think this skirt, even though it's got a high-low hem, it will be slightly easier because there's not as many panels. Yeah, so that's my plan anyway, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to do the toile in February and then actually make the dress in March. And in February I am going to be doing a sew along for the Nina Lee Carnaby dress, because I want to nail that fit on me, and I have had a few requests on how to do that all-in-one facing that I did because I omitted the zip. So I'm definitely going to be doing that in February, so that'll be part of my February makes. So fingers crossed I lose the weight that I put on at Christmas, because I need to get it off. But I'm starting running again next week. I haven't been running for 2 months now, and that was purely because my husband had an operation, so I wasn't able to leave him with the children, so I had to sack that off and stuff. So yeah, and also my gluttony over Christmas time has not fared well on my hips. So yeah, I'm sure my other carnaby dress probably doesn't even fit me. I daren't try it on. So I'm going to do that anyway, so focusing on losing a bit of weight this January, so it's good that I've got stuff to sew for other people and not for myself. Also, one of the other resolutions that I had for myself, which I've forgotten to mention, was the PDF patterns that I'd got on my computer. If you remember, I said before that I tend to forget that they're there because they're not actual paper patterns. And I asked my mother-in-law for money towards getting those printed for Christmas, because she asked me what I wanted, and I was like, I really just want to get those printed so I actually use the patterns, because otherwise I've just bought them and they're just stored on my computer for no reason. And so she did that, and then I went through all my patterns on my laptop and thought, gosh, I've got so many I didn't actually realise. So I have had Net Printer print them for me on A0 size, and I received them today. And you've got to see this massive wodge of all these patterns in A0. So obviously that is all folded, but there are some that are 4 pages worth of A0 just for one pattern. So like the Chloe coat for Sew Over It, that is 4 pages worth. So yeah, there was quite a lot though. I think if I just quickly look at the invoice that they sent me, there was 19 A0 sheets printed, and I think probably was about 12 patterns in total, maybe something like that. So quite a few. So now I'm really pleased that I've got those printed off. So that includes the molly top and things like that. So there was a lot of the ebook by Sew Over It, the first one, City Break, that I've had printed, and the instructions actually for those patterns, I decided not to get printed at the printers because the cost was just going up and up and up. So I've decided that my dad will be printing those. I don't have a printer, but my dad does, and he doesn't mind that I keep asking him to print things. Actually, as a joke for Christmas, I bought him a ream of paper as part of his present, because I'm always asking him to print things for me. Yeah, so he's going to print the instructions and things like that for me, because obviously I only need those in A4 size, and he can do it double-sided for me, and it shouldn't cost that much, I'm sure. Yeah, so I'm pleased with that. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Please like and subscribe, and I shall see you at the end of the month with the finished makes that I've done for January. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.